everybody, welcome to Bish's RV. Josh the RV Nerd here with a brand new Arcadia floor plan. And I gotta tell you, Arcadia kind of had a little bit of a rocky launch, but they've got some new people leading the charge here, and they are making some moves. This feels drastically improved from what it was before, but just from the base floor plan level, like this is just a good layout. It really reminds me a lot of like the 311 rear den Montana high country, just without a full east-west bed slide. And what that means is lighter, shorter, less expensive, and those are all good things. And Arcadia overall has just really kind of dialed in the look and the feel this year, I think. So this model gives us opposing living room slides, but it's interesting, they, instead of like dual hide-to-bed sleeper sofas, which I've never understood how many RVs have dual hide-to-bed sleeper sofas plus a theater seat in a couples model made for 2 butts. Why do I need 6 seats? This thing has a big extra large sleeper sofa in one slide and then your dining area in the other. And it just makes sense to me. You've got a theater seat staring at the entertainment center, and you're on Boardwalk and Park Place. Like, you're not doing a neck wrecker thing. Everything is at head and eye level, and it just makes more sense. The kitchen, though, it has one of these big, like, it's a U-shaped kitchen, and it doesn't seem to occupy a lot of space in the RV, but it provides massive storage and prep space. I think it's one of the best kitchen arrangements out there. They do it in toy haulers all the time, and I flat love it. The upper deck of this is pretty straightforward, although I do like that it does have a true queen bed, and it's be very comfortable if you're a little more claustrophobic, and a lot of RVs leave you feeling really boxed in because they put a lot of your hanging storage in a closet slide, like a wardrobe slide, just kind of off to the side. Good hot cold weather package on these. They bumped up the solar package across the board at Keystone this year. As you can obviously see, hanging out the front of that, dual air capable, and a lot of other things. But it's got a couple hiccups and hang-ups too. We're going to show you the good with the bad. You let me know what you like and dislike, and we'll go from there. And I think models like this are pretty cool because what they give us is that like big giant XL fifth wheel kind of living room and kitchen, but they do it in that kind of smaller, more mobile, lighter weight package. You know, maybe you've just got a heavy 3/4, maybe, you know, you're not looking to get into dually country. That's where something like this comes into play. And again, it really feels like, I can't necessarily put my finger on like the one thing, but what's happened recently over this past year is there's been some new management, new leadership placed in the Arcadia team, or over the Arcadia team rather, including their kind of lead designer here, which the fellow that basically made Montana a major success for a lot of years. So I'm kind of spotting some of his classic signature Montana features slipping down into something a little bit more cougar-sized, and I feel like these Arcadias are finally starting to sort of define themselves in their own sort of unique fashion. Like, I love all the windows around both sides of the living room. So the cross breeze potential in here is absolutely fantastic. But this is what I was talking about. Instead of doing dual hide-to-bed sleeper sofas, where I don't need to, you know, I don't need seating for like 6 to 8 people in a model without bunks, you know. But if you want to have some friends over, some guests over, this is a great entertainers kind of floor plan like here, especially since I'm standing at like the kitchen bar right now. And where does the party always end? The party ends in the kitchen, because that's where the food and that's where the drinks are. If what you're looking for is something for, you know, a couple of you, but you want to have some friends over, have a fun time, watch, you know, the big game or whatever, this is a rig that's going to get it done, and it's going to get it done comfortably and in style. I really like what they're doing here. The inclusion of things like those Roman shades. By the way, thank you, viewers. The last time I recorded in Arcadia, I didn't exactly know what those were called, and I greatly appreciate your assistance, because, like, I'm not good with my home and garden TV, like, terminology. So, you know, all the help that you folks give me, I swear, I've definitely learned far more from you folks in the comment section, helping me out than I think I've ever assisted anybody else. You folks are definitely the ones that help drive this channel. Over here, we've got that theater seat situation going on. Now, because they did have to go with a squished together theater seat that does not have the population controlling armrest, because that slide has to come in here, obviously. What that does mean, though, is super, oops, I'm bumping into the wall, super cuddle compliant. So basically, it's a reclining love seat, which is kind of cool. And the total kitchen prep space in this is fantastic. This is what I was talking about with that U kitchen. You see this in like toy haulers all the time because they have to get really creative without making the RV too awful large. those U-shaped kitchens provide amazing prep space, tons of storage, and this year, your overhead cabinet doors are all like soft close, and you'll actually see that persist through multiple areas of the RV, including the entertainment center. And again, just windows everywhere, including big windows overlooking the sleeper sofa that we saw a second ago. I'm really liking how Keystone is matching their slide floor to the main floor. They're getting rid of that marine woven stuff. Ironically, even though I like it aesthetically, I happen to know that it is technically a downgraded material, but I mean, you're walking all over the main flooring all the time. There's no reason it's not going to be perfectly fine in the slide out. So yeah, maybe it's technically not as robust as that marine stuff, but it's gonna hold up just fine. Now, giving you a little bit better look at those Roman shades that we saw here, the cool thing with those is you can kind of pull them down. You know, they don't have the strings, they don't have all the cables and stuff that hang down, and then you just push them up. And it's funny because when you push them up, you feel like, you know, there's nothing catching this. As soon as I let go, it's gonna fall. And then it doesn't. It's like magic. And you don't quite realize how big the TV is on this thing until you see it kind of swung around. Now that sofa, that is not your father's conventional camper sofa. That is a big hide-a-bed sucker right there that even if you're not going to use it in hide-a-bed mode, like if it's just going to be one person, like if you let me crash on your couch for the night, I could just take those back cushions off, not even open the full hide-a-bed, and I have room at my size to sleep on that thing fairly well. I will say when it opens up, yeah, you definitely have the room for two people. It's not the most comfortable mattress, but I mean, have you ever seen a fold-open hide-a-bed like that ever was very comfortable? I certainly have not. I used to sleep on my grandparents' hide-a-bed in their camper, in their house, and it was never super nice and super comfortable. So I think that's just how those things tend to go. But like a tri-fold sleeper sofa, there's not one I've ever seen that's that big. They're not big enough to do what this one does, so they had to source a specialty sofa. Now, one of the cool things is above that kitchen, you do have one of those XL kind of rain censoring vent fans to really kind of maximize the airflow in here. And, you know, if it does start drizzling while you go out on like a, I don't know, bike ride or something like that, you're not going to come back with a big old puddle of water on your countertop and on your floor. So that's not going to be quite the issue that you have here. Now, you may have noticed there's this gigantic wall of storage next to the fridge, right? That 12-volt compressor fridge. But the bottom shelf was like very shallow, almost like a glorified spice rack. That's because behind that, underneath that, outside is basically a mini camp kitchen station. So you don't lose that space. It's just been repurposed in a little bit different way. Did you also notice larger 22-inch oven versus the little guys? And you see that yellow sticker on the right-hand power outlet? First of all, I love where the kitchen outlets are in this model. They nailed that. Secondly, the yellow stickered outlets, those are inverter prepped. So you could be able to power those if you add an inverter to the base version of this RV. And the advanced solar packages also happen to include inverters as well. Now, they don't go with any sort of, smart Bluetooth touch command system on these. Instead, what they opt for is just this crazy tactile response device called a switch. And the funny thing? Switches just work. And I like the idea. I'm a person who speaks tech. I grew up with tech. I get it. I like the idea of the Bluetooth functions. It's neat. But at the end of the day, you know what? My house, I have a thermostat. I have the Bluetooth apps. I can do all that stuff. And you know what I do with it? I walk over the thermostat and I adjust it by hand. Now, I am technically, allegedly, I guess, a millennial, and I'm supposed to be a super techie person, but I'm like a very old millennial who is very Gen X in his ways. Like, I was there before computers happened, but I grew up with computers. I'm this weird kind of lost in between a couple years of a missing generation, basically. So I'm like the Clint Eastwood from Gran Torino of millennials. I'm like, get off my lawn. It's like I've worked hard to groom that lawn, and I haven't quite got to the stage where I'm ready to have an automatic robot Roomba my lawn, but I will tell you, I am getting awful close. I've got a couple of those in the house. They are handy. True queen bed, now that I'm done talking about my age generation bracket or whatever. The bed, let me back up, does have a little bit of a step up right here. It is due to the fact that that's where a cross member for upper deck structure and support is located. Without one of those, you'd end up with cracking fiberglass by your slides, and that's no bueno, obviously. And because the nose cap of this thing, I don't know if you've noticed, the nose cap of these Arcadias closely resembles the shape of a sperm whale. You know, maybe that's never occurred to you, but that's the first thing that came to my mind anyway. But what that lets them do is add this extra recessed headboard up there, and that's a perfect little phone shelf. It works really well in the bedroom. And one of the other things that's really cool here is they are still making sure they're overhead cabinet doors that flip up and down. You don't have to, like, you know, juggle them open with your head. They're still strutted. All of your closet storage is over there in the slide. You have a couple big dresser drawers down below. And of course, full storage going on below that easy lift bed situation right there. One of the other cool things about RVs like this with a north-south bed arrangement where the bed's not in a slide, some RVs may be okay to sleep in the bed if the bed's in a slide and the slide's closed, but one like this, it's never an issue. Because even with that closet slide closed, you can fully use this bed. Although, if you're a person who tends to, you know, kick and thrash around in bed, you might put your foot through one of those mirrors. So maybe kind of plan accordingly. I don't know what you would do to help avoid that, but there you have it. Now, the entry door is over on what I'm going to call the hallway side of the RV, or the hallway is on the door side of the RV, whatever you want to call it. I suppose both phraseologies are accurate. So upper deck access is not an issue, you know, for using the bathroom, a little potty stop in motion, or, well, not in motion, hopefully you stop. You get what I'm saying. You can get to the bed and the bathroom and the slide closed. That's what I'm saying. Now, you come down here, and at a glance, you walk in, you're like, oh, this is sweet. Like, you can walk right in the kitchen. Something I was afraid of when I first started eyeballing this floor plan is that the refrigerator comes, it lines right up against this bar right here. So you can't, I mean, you could maybe reach in there and get like a can of pop or soda pop or whatever you call it where you're from. And that's kind of a little bit of a bummer, but there is, I think, a viable workaround here. I know I've talked about this in some of my previous videos, but I think it's a point that not a lot of people realize, and this is why I take the extra time to close the slides. If you can fold those steps down to get to the bathroom and bedroom, then you can open that door side slide. It does not stick out as far as the steps, especially when you consider as they swing down, they actually stick out a little bit further. So if you can put these steps down and, you know, get to the bathroom and the bedroom, then what that means is that you can get in here, you can walk in, and you can get to the refrigerator, no problem. And then when the slide's deployed, you have places like that big giant mega sofa where you could sit down and maybe snack on something. Now, obviously, that's not going to work in every parking space. That may not be Cracker Barrel compliant. I totally understand that. But it is a thing to kind of consider that might help some folks before they go spending a lot of money. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I was double checking the weight tag over there on the RV. I think we've got about an 11,000 pound GVW. And just knowing what I know about a fifth wheel this size with a closet slide up front, I don't think half tons are appropriate for something like this. I know that there's going to be some dealerships that will pair you up with a half ton on this, no questions asked. And I think that that's demonstrating basically no care and concern for your personal safety and well-being or other motorists on the road. The hitch weight of this is going to exceed what almost all half-ton payloads are going to be able to allow. They're doing a cool thing here. Like, how many brands have you seen where you've got a fridge and then like a griddle that slides out? Like, everybody and their brother kind of has a thing like that. But I really like how it actually swings out and then drops down so that you're not cooking your chesticles. Basically, a lot of these things you're going to singe your chest hair. And that's certainly not the kind of seasoning that I want on a hunk of meat getting cooked on that thing. But hey, you know, that's just me. The fact that it, you know, drops down to make it easier to manage is great, especially when, look how that's located in the slide. So the slide is already slightly above the main floor level as it is. That's just one of those devil in the detail kind of really good smart features right there. You can see the second power awning built right onto that as well. And that's a thing. There's a handful of couples models out there that have some kind of camp kitchen feature or station, and that has a miniature version of it like we just saw. But most of them, you can't put a second awning on the face of the slide out. Well, the way that they've done this one, obviously you can. Now, a nice full pass-through up front right there. You may have noticed there's actually a heat duct down into that belly cavity as well, and that creates like yet another sort of point of thermal break, which keeps your upper deck, your bedroom and bathroom floors a little bit more comfortable. They've got a very good focus on like a better kind of hitch and like running gear. Like your suspension on this is a lot better than a lot of industry standard things that you're going to find out there. And there's some other brands doing some good things, but those Kurt shock dampening pin boxes really take a lot of the herk jerk out of the whole towing equation. Now, for generator fans, I'm just eyeballing it. I don't think you're going to be able to squeeze a generator up there. There's no factory option or gen prep offered, so that would make sense. But sometimes that doesn't mean that an RV couldn't be generator capable. I don't think this is one of those. Last year, Keystone had standard lithium batteries on basically everything. That is no longer the case. A lot of their brands you can still option lithium batteries, or call our store. We can get you batteries. That's not a problem. So you might ask, why would they peel that out? Well, it's important to understand that although it was included, lithium batteries were never free. They were always part of the price tag. You just weren't paying any additional for them. So folks who didn't need them were paying a lot of extra money for stuff they maybe didn't need. Now folks who want them, it's still available to you. So they're just kind of letting you pick your own poison, and it makes sense. I mean, there's arguments to go both ways on it, but overall I think what they're doing just kind of makes sense. On-demand water heater, endless hot water. Well, I guess. Like as long as you have propane and you've got a little bit of battery power to power up your circuit panel, yeah, you've got water. Your limitation just might be your holding tanks more than anything. I tend to be a little bit semantical that way. You can see that solar panel hanging up off the roof right there. That is one of those other things that they have improved from last year. Previously it was 200 watts with a 15 amp controller, and that was better than what most guys gave you factory default. It is now a 30 amp charge controller, still Victron, and it is now a 220 watt panel. So basically double the charge controller and 10% more juice right from the factory level. And if you want to expand on that, you can. There's also things like they now have a 440 package instead of a 400 package, which includes an inverter. So there's some other things that you can kind of do with that. No rear bumper, but you do have a place here with the 300-pound rated accessory hitch off the back. If you want to bring along a couple bicycles or something like that, a little cargo pod, or maybe you put, since we're not generator capable in the front, you could always put a small cargo tray off the back and mount a small generator back there. Just keep in mind, obviously you got those weight limits to it. Now you see the ladder up to the roof so you can get up there, do all your normal maintenance for your seals and all that kind of good stuff. But I want to get you down here under the sucker, because one of the cool things that this has is automatic leveling. But I think on a lot of fifth wheels, people kind of expect that. You've also got that stinky slinky sewer tube down here, so that you don't have to worry about, where do I store that thing, and if it accidentally, rubs against your kid's favorite blankie, now your kid doesn't have pink eye for the big family trip. So I haven't been able to cover Arcadias very long, and I really would be kind of curious, what do you think about the brand here? And to kind of help you with that, I'll leave you some links to check for pricing and availability on these, where we might have them at some of our various Bish stores. Like I know our Anderson, Indiana store, just south of my hometown Southern Michigan store, has these, and they've had a lot of success with them down there. A lot of very happy owners have taken these and reported like, hey, we really like this, like it works very well. And it's that experience after the sale that I think is the most important and most defining. So let me know what you think, and until next time, take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.